If you're shopping for car insurance in Nevada right now, you've probably noticed it's not cheap. Depending on the source, the average full coverage policy in this state runs somewhere between $3,200 and $4,000 a year. And if you're in Las Vegas, it's probably even more than that. But here's what most people don't realize. Some of these companies are 40% apart in price for the exact same driver profile, and some of them are priced low for reasons you don't find out until you actually need the policy. So which ones are actually worth your time? I went through the most recent rate analysis, customer satisfaction rankings, and claims reviews for Nevada specifically, based on the most recent publicly available data as of early 2026. And I narrowed it down to the 10 carriers that keep showing up at the top. Not just the 10 cheapest, the 10 best when you look at the full picture. Rates, claims handlings, customer service, coverage options, and financial stability. I run an independent insurance agency. We work with multiple carriers, not just one. Some of the companies on this list are ones we represent. Some of them are not. I'll be upfront about that as we go through them because my goal here is to give you an accurate picture of what's actually worth considering in Nevada right now, not just push what's on our shelf. Real quick before we get into the companies, Nevada is an at-fault state, which means the driver who causes the accident is responsible for the other person's damages. The state minimum requirements are 25, 50, 20. That's 25,000 bodily injury per person, 50,000 per accident, and 20,000 for property damage. I'll be straightforward with you, those minimums are not enough for most people. A serious accident can blow past those limits in a hurry, and if it does, you're personally on the hook for the rest. I've done a separate video on what happens when you don't carry enough coverage, so I won't go deep on that here, but just know that when I'm evaluating these companies today, I'm looking at the full picture, not just who gives you the lowest number on a quote. Let's get into it. Travelers keeps landing at or near the top in Nevada across multiple 2026 analyses, and not just on price. What makes them stand out is consistency. They're competitive across almost every driver profile. Young drivers, drivers with a speeding ticket, even drivers with an accident on their record. Most carriers are strong for one group and weak for another. Travelers stays solid across the board. They also carry an AM Best A++ financial strength rating, which is about as strong as it gets. That matters because you want to know the company can actually pay when it counts. Travelers is one of the carriers we write at our agency, so full disclosure there, if you're looking for a carrier that's going to be competitive no matter what your driver profile looks like, they're a strong place to start. Geico is known as a direct writer. Most people buy online or over the phone, but they also work with independent agencies like ours, which means you can get a Geico policy through an agent if you want someone helping you through the process. Their rates in Nevada are competitive across a range of driver profiles, and their digital tools are solid. The app, online policy management, all of that is well built. Where the experience can vary is on the claim side. If you bought direct without an agent involved, you're navigating that process on your own. That's fine for straightforward situations, but when things get complicated, a disputed claim, a coverage question, a solution where you need someone advocating for you, having an agent in the mix makes a difference. Geico is one of the carriers we write at our agency. Mercury doesn't get as much national attention as some of the bigger names, but in Nevada, they've built a strong reputation, especially across the western states. They're a regional carrier, which means they're more focused on the markets that they actually operate in rather than trying to be everything to everyone. That focused approach tends to show up in their underwriting and their service. They know the Nevada market, and drivers with clean records in particular tend to see strong quotes. Mercury is one of the carriers we write at our agency. If you haven't heard of them, that's not unusual, but they're worth including when you're comparing options. Progressive works both direct and through independent agents, so you can get them through an agency like ours or through their website. What makes Progressive interesting is the flexibility. Their coverage options are among the broadest in the market. Custom parts coverage, rideshare insurance, gap coverage, and more. They also have the Snapshot program, which tracks your driving habits and can adjust your rate based on how you actually drive. If you're a safe driver, that can save you up to 30%. But it can also raise your rate if your habits aren't great. So it's a bet that depends entirely on how you actually drive, not how you think you drive. Progressive is one of the carriers we work with in our agency. Now, let me run through some strong carriers that we don't represent, but that deserve to be on your list. State Farm, biggest name in the industry, consistently strong customer service, low complaint ratios, and they tend to be more forgiving on rates after an at-fault accident. They're a captive carrier with their own agents. We don't write them, but if service and claims experience are your top priorities, they belong on your list. USAA, if you're active military, a veteran, or an immediate family member, USAA should be one of your first calls. Their customer satisfaction scores are among the highest in the industry. They sell direct, we don't represent them, and they're only available to the military community, but if you qualify, get a quote. American Family scored highest in the most recent U.S. News overall rankings for Nevada car insurance. Strong across coverage options, endorsements, and customer experience, their rates run a little above average, but if you value coverage, quality, and customization, they're worth a look. Captive carrier, their own agents, not us. Nationwide is a solid all-around carrier, and where they really stand out is bundling. If you're looking to combine home and auto, their multi-policy discounts tend to be aggressive. 15 to 25% off your combined premium is common. Farmers rounds out the top 5 in several 2026 Nevada rankings. Strong on coverage, customization with a wide range of endorsements and policy add-ons. Good local agent network in Nevada. We don't represent them, but they belong on the list. Allstate is one of the largest carriers in Nevada. Their rates tend to run above average, but they make up for it with a deep discount structure, bundling, safe driving programs, loyalty rewards. If you qualify for several of those, the actual premium can come down meaningfully from the initial quote. Captive carrier, we don't write them. Here's the thing I want you to take away from this. The best carrier for your neighbor might not be the best carrier for you. Car insurance is so individualized. Your age, your zip code, your credit, your driving record, the car you drive, that the rankings shuffle for every single person. The real takeaway isn't go with Travelers or go with State Farm. It's get quotes from at least 3 companies for the exact same coverage levels and compare the full picture, not just the price. Look at what's actually in the policy, how the company handles claims, and whether you have someone in your corner if something goes wrong. A few things to keep in mind when you're comparing. Make sure you're comparing the same coverage levels across every quote. A lower price with lower limits isn't a better deal. It's less protection. Ask about discounts, bundling, safe driver programs, paying in full, paperless billing. Those add up. And look at claims reviews. J.D. Power scores and NAIC compliant ratios are 2 solid public sources. A great price means nothing if the company makes it difficult when you actually need to use the policy. One more thing worth mentioning. Where you live in Nevada makes a real difference. Las Vegas drivers generally pay more than the state average. Henderson tends to be a little better. Reno is typically lower than Las Vegas, and rural Nevada can be lower still. That's because Las Vegas has more congestion, more accidents, more uninsured drivers, and higher vehicle theft rates. All of that goes into the insurance company's math when they price your policy. If you recently moved within Nevada, even just from one zip code to another, it's worth requoting your policy. You might be paying a rate based on your old address. So to wrap this up, the 10 companies worth looking at if you're shopping for car insurance in Nevada right now are Travelers, State Farm, Geico, Mercury, Progressive, USAA if you qualify, American Family, Nationwide, Farmers, and Allstate. You don't need to quote all 10, but at least get 3 of them for the same coverage levels and look at the full picture. If you're in Nevada and you don't want to spend your weekend filling out quote forms on 5 different websites, That's literally what we do. We run your information across multiple carriers at the same time, including options that aren't even on this list to give you the best value. Check out our Google reviews if you want to see what our clients have to say. There's a link in the description if you want us to run quotes for you. And if you want to understand how to protect yourself when your auto coverage isn't enough, I made a video on umbrella insurance that explains exactly how that works. It's right here. Thanks for watching.